cultural competence. Because yeah, as we stated, it's soft. So how can they measure it so they can know for sure that yeah, they are missing something and they need us PLA school to amend that?
So I would say that this is soft. So of course it won't be measurable in the sense that how many words somebody says, or in how many trainings even this person's been and so on. But what business can easily see, it's money which they are, or gaining or losing, and always a lot of times, unfortunately, this kind of cooperation. Or asking people who know more about intercultural topics, languages, and so on. It's appearing when there are some difficulties, right? So something is not going well, so let's maybe invest, or let's ask somebody to help us. And I always say, like, it's great to invest at the beginning because then we easier and more smoothly we can see results. So I'm working, with the companies which. For example, I had like 3 years ago. I was working with one company who just in a half year lost million euro, I think, if I don't mix the currency, because they were not able to understand the partners from India. And they opened, subsidiary in India and so on. They thought that they had already experience, but they had experience with US and in Germany. India, it's different market, different rules. And more and more, then we had to, let's say, do everything not to deepen these difficulties, just to try to find some solutions and so on. And then it was, easy to measure in the sense to see if the project is going how they wanted it or not. But sometimes it's so this is one of the way how we can see. Of course, you can measure. There are different tools and so on to see how ready you are to working in diverse environment and so on. However, this is a competence which we should look at, not like, we will develop or not. We just need to have it. This is like with languages. So this is part of languages, I would say, even, like learning, because we live in very diverse environment. We travel a lot. We have components, even, in our business, in different countries. We have more international people in our own country. So we need to understand what is really going on and how to understand them. So I would say that you won't really measure this kind of soft skills, but you can see as well how people are then willing to collaborate with others. Because especially it's about Poles, if you don't know other cultures, you don't understand why people behave like that, then you are more resistant. And because we have this high uncertainty avoidance, and then you just do a minimum of your work. If you know that, for example, with Americans, you need to be more expressive and everything is amazing and smile, and you know that, for example, in Asian countries you need to be more chill, you need to give more space, you need to be, it will take longer. So already which techniques you need to apply. And if you don't know, then you are investing time, and then it's just frustration in the end and losing, of course, maybe some money and so on. So I would say that. And unfortunately, business more and more see this, that learning through their previous experience, they know that we might need somebody to support, to help our people to feel more confident how we talking, how we understanding each other and so on. And then, of course, results are increasing, because I would say it's difficult sometimes before and after. It's much more how people as well are willing to cooperate with others.
And can we risk a statement that if doing business with other culture is like goes from this communicational perspective worse than in Poland, then if it's just more difficult, so then it might be the issue, like the moment to maybe start investing in linguistical / cultural competences and trainings?
Yes, if it's this area, it's also important to look on different. This again, I will use this, like, different things which are happening. For example, the project and so on. Even last week, I was running a workshop for Polish team who on daily basis they cooperate with Irish, and there were like different challenges which they were facing. One of the challenge is understanding the market. So it's very technical aspects, which nobody never really took care of understanding how in Polish market you cooperate and how in Irish, and then try to teach each other about these differences. So through I would say process they were learning this. So this is one thing. Other thing is just understanding their colleagues and each other. So then a lot of let's say personal miscommunication or dissatisfaction won't appear. And it's even not about only Polish team, because there are also different offices which they're cooperating together, but they would have better understanding. And if we understand, then we easier act with these people. So this is something what I said. And of course then the first or even the last when I'm saying about this, but one of the most important facts, it was that most of this group didn't feel confident enough speaking with native speakers. Not because their language is even not good enough, but just they didn't feel confident. So that's why I believe that, this kind of training or like linguistic trainings, intercultural trainings are important just to give also this confidence to people. I remember when in the company where I was working as a project manager and product manager, I told my boss that I want to attend English classes. And he was like, you speak English and, why do you need extra English classes? I said, like, because I want to speak with, for example, native speaker, or I want to improve my pronunciation, listening even, or whatever. Then I can feel more comfortable while I'm doing business in our company. And he was like, okay. And I saw this, how in my group, it was extremely beneficial that you are using, you just spoke, you just build this confidence for these classes. So I believe that it's important.
When HR departments say, or even the founders, they say that no, yeah, well, we hire the people who already speak English, so we don't really need to train them and stuff. And it's like, God damn it, even if you know how to run, it doesn't mean that you can play Olympic Games just
Yeah.
like that, without training, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And if your competition do invest in such trainings, they are gaining, they are better, they are getting better and better than develop. So you are staying behind. So how can it be?
One thing which is also coming to my mind, and this is what appears a lot in generally cooperation, human cooperation. It's also, how we were taught, in this case, languages at school. That I still remember my classes, even at university. I can say that I was traumatized, because all my language classes are showing that I know language or not. It was like hangman, this kind of test. You need to fill up some language pieces, and I don't know how to do this. I'm just a lot of times I'm just going with the flow. Yeah, I miss a word, so it's important that somehow you will find a way that you want to describe things. And I see this during my trainings, that we are afraid of making mistakes. We are afraid of just speaking, of asking like, hey, could you repeat? Even when we speak Polish, so imagine now as you speak with native speakers, right? That we are constantly not good enough. Even I'm always saying you use English, for example, in daily basis. So it's not that you are not good enough. It's much more that you miss maybe certain phrases. Maybe this is just to use this in different contexts, because I love this example of my friend. She's Irish. She has a British partner, and they have a lot of miscommunication. They don't understand each other, and we are always saying, it's English, right? So they should. No, native speakers also, they don't understand. I remember one team which I was working, and they were from US, South Africa, a lot of native speakers, and they were like laughing that they can't find common sense, because they're using words with the same words but just has different meaning. And when you are not native, you also add your, let's say, layer of understanding certain things. So I would say that business also need to understand that as we're going from such a school system, even if we declare that we speak, language on, I don't know, C1 or whatever, a lot of time people are anyway afraid to just speak up at the meeting, to share their thoughts. That, because this is all the time about tests, conversation or feeling fluent, or it's even not about fluency. It's even about this approach, which I mentioned, that I went for the meeting and I was like, oh, what's up? What's going on? In the past, I would never do this. And I know that, I make mistakes, that I could use different phrases sometimes and so on. But, and of course, after I'm listening some conversation or, even podcast, I'm like, oh my God, how could you say this? It's important that people understand us, and as well, how you create this confidence and so on. So I would say that this is why people should invest, in linguistic training still when we are adult and working in this area.